Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She goes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying,
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com.
Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm Josh Gessman along with Wendy Thomas, and on today's show we're going to take you back through the LA Galaxy's 4-1 win over the Houston Dynamo. Did a great game by Giovanni Dos Santos and Steven Gerrard have this team pointed in the right direction? Plus we're going to go back and look at the stadium restrictions MLS has rolled out, as well as update you on all the injuries and all the team news. And all before we turn our attention to LA Galaxy as they host undefeated Real Salt Lake on Saturday. Plus, we'll be joined by LA Galaxy defender Daniel Steres. It's a packed show, so don't go anywhere. Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com starts right now.
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Now here are your hosts, Josh Gessman and Wendy Thomas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm Josh Gessman. Along with Wendy Thomas, the LA Galaxy get a 4-1 win. That's right, a 4-1 win over the Houston Dynamo in Houston. The first time the LA Galaxy have won in 2016. The first time since they last played FC Dallas last year. The first time they've won on the road. The LA Galaxy doing good things on that front. So we'll get to talk a lot about that game, obviously. Maybe some surprise performances by Giovanni Dos Santos, or perhaps some surprise performances, Wendy, by Steven Gerrard. But I think LA Galaxy fans have to be thinking, or have to be pretty excited about what's going on so far.
Well, what I would say is that that in the beginning of the season, there's been some nerves and some second guessing and some thoughts about, whether we made the correct moves in the offseason, because there was so much transfer activity, much more than we normally have in an offseason.
Right. That
I would say that the Houston game kind of calmed my nerves, at least with respect to realizing that the decision to bring in Gel Van Dam was a good one, that Giovanni Dos Santos could turn out to be a really fruitful player for the Galaxy. And it was really gratifying to see the Galaxy give a performance on the road that was not only a victory, but, a really thorough thumping to the other team, because winning on the road for the Galaxy has been a challenge in recent seasons. And this was not just a win. This was a win 4-1, where it felt to me like we were really just decimating the Dynamo.
See, somebody made the correction of the word decimating, because actually it was a decimal point joke that they made. They said the Galaxy would have had to beat them 10-1 in order to decimate them, which I thought was funny as hell, quite honestly. I enjoy decimal point jokes. I don't know what that makes me.
It's fortunate that you and I both are huge nerds, because we find humor in that, whereas it's possible that someone else might not think that is hilarious.
I think most people probably don't think that's very hilarious, but hey, that's us, and I'm willing to own it. That's fine. But the LA Galaxy, we should say, didn't start off very well in this game. In fact, in the first minute, they gave up a goal, thanks to some. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the replay. It's actually pretty funny if now that the Galaxy win. But at the time, I'm sure like me, I was irate about it. But Magee, who runs in the opposite direction of the ball, because he's trying to get everybody offside, but there was no chance that the defense was going to clear that far out. Or I don't know if he didn't see it, but he's literally running in the opposite direction as the ball is being sent in, and ultimately it comes over Daniel Steres and finds an open guy that was probably Magee guy on the back post. But luckily for the Galaxy, that doesn't hurt
That's right.
them. That doesn't hurt them. The things we should point out again, though, Wendy, Giovanni Dos Santos starting for the LA Galaxy, obviously second game in a row that he gets a start. Steven Gerrard, back from his injury, gets the captain's armband and captains this team. And I was on ESPN 700 in Real Salt Lake talking to Brian Dunseth and Trey and some of the other guys over there at ESPN 700, and they were saying, was this Steven Gerrard's best game ever for the LA Galaxy? And I was trying to think back, Wendy, do you think of another game where he
so
played
in
better?
his first game, remember when we played San Jose and he scored a goal? I think that was a game that I would say everyone was profoundly excited because he played sort of as a number 10 in that game, even potentially as a second striker.
Right.
And therefore he was, around the goal box a lot during that game, and he scored a goal, obviously. And that also turned out to be a great victory. If you remember, we just really pounded San Jose.
Right.
So I think that was a good performance, but I think also that was also because it was a rivalry game, because we beat them, I think 5-2 or something like that. That was also a game where there was a lot of emotional momentum. So I don't know. But you're correct. I think that this was one of Gerrard's best performances. He played really well, and he played well for 90 minutes. I mean, that on the third goal,
Right.
the assist to Giovanni Dos Santos,
Ooh,
the delivery of that ball was so tight. It was so beautiful. And that's when you kind of appreciate, we really do have a player he's got such an elegant touch from the ball. It's so just silky, really just he can deliver things so smoothly when he's playing well. I mean, I think that with Gerrard, one of the difficulties has been transitioning to this really physical league where things are really fast and it's kind of rough, but you can see that he has a really peerless touch on the ball when he gets the opportunity to show it off.
Well, Steven Gerrard, just to throw some stats around a little bit. Steven Gerrard is let's see if I can actually find this again because I lost it. There it is. All right. In total now, he has played in 17 MLS appearances. He has notched 2 goals and has 5 assists. So if you look at it from a career standpoint in Major League Soccer, 17 games, 2 goals, 5 assists. Enough? Not enough.
I think it depends on what you think his job is. I mean,
Right.
I see in his career for Liverpool, I saw him as a central lying sort of central midfielder, right?
Right.
If he's a central midfielder, he doesn't need to be prolifically scoring goals because not all midfielders are like Frank Lampard. They don't always have to get into the box. They could, be more deep lying playmakers like Pirlo.
Right.
So I think, though, the way Bruce envisions Gerrard playing for the team, he envisions him playing as more of an advanced midfielder, in which case you do want them to participate in not only the goal scoring, but also the creation of goals. And so you want to think about, has he been creative enough as a midfielder? I honestly don't think that, obviously it's not a problem with his ability, his technique, or anything like that. It's been difficult to get the correct formation for the Galaxy.
That's a good discussion we should have. That's the one. Let's stop right there and actually have this one. I said in the game previous to this, in the Portland game where the LA Galaxy are 1-1 draws, I said that I love Giovanni Dos Santos in that withdrawn striker playing Robbie Keane basically as the number 9. That showed so much in this game. And before we go too much further, obviously Giovanni Dos Santos, great game, scoring 2 goals, 1 assist, involved in all 4 goals, by the way. So he gets all 4 goals on his belt in that one, does great. So he played great. Steven Gerrard played great, but the formation that they played in now, man, that seemed to make, a lot of difference, and also the fact that Houston's a dumpster fire. So between those two things, I don't want to overlook the fact that Houston
was atrocious.
Yeah.
That was some of the worst defending. And I asked you before we got on the podcast, I said, is Houston that bad this year? And then you looked at the standings like, they're last in the Western Conference.
Yeah, and it's not even like a good last. It's not even like, with just a couple more games in either direction, they could really do something. I don't feel that way with Houston right now. Houston 0.83 points per game right now. The top is 2.33 points per game from Real Salt Lake, who's undefeated and sits in second place right now, having played 2 less games than FC Dallas, who is at 2.13 points per game. So I know
Houston is a wreck.
Yes.
And so we shouldn't necessarily be patting ourselves on the back too much for having, won against a team which is fairly awful right now, at least. Owen Coyle is probably miserable right now. But that being said, you're correct. I think that one question, which is going to be hanging in the minds of a lot of Galaxy fans, is it appears from the past 3 games maybe that we've seen that the likely best position for Giovanni Dos Santos is playing as a withdrawn second striker, as like, an advanced number 10, which is essentially where Robbie Keane plays.
Yep.
So
yeah. Well, I did a podcast earlier this week where we talked about the defense and what happens when all the LA Galaxy defenders get healthy, and that includes like Robbie Rogers now that he's back to full training. So is he going to be there? AJ De La Garza, Yel Van Dam, Ashley Cole, Daniel Steres. There's all these guys who could play now, and somebody, probably a good person, is probably going to be sitting on the bench if Bruce keeps the 4-4-2 like he probably should. So that's a question. You look at what happens whenever Robbie Keane comes back and where he plays, and how does that affect Giovanni Dos Santos? Probably is still another 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks of actually contemplating that before it actually happens. But what happens if Giovanni Dos Santos catches fire, has another good game coming up against Real Salt Lake? So that's an interesting sort of take that you can look at this game as well. I think you're going to have a lot of problems with people getting healthy because the LA Galaxy, despite the fact they've been decimated, see, now I'm saying it. Did they have 10
injuries? Is that what you're saying?
They had at least 9. They had at least 9 at some point. So I think we're close. Yeah. So I think being decimated by injuries, I think if you look at that and now where they're at, you're going to find some players are not going to be playing that you probably want to be playing. So that's going to be a really, I can't wait. Look at Dan Kennedy, Brian Rowe. What's happening now?
Okay, on Dan Kennedy, Brian Rowe, I'm going to have to say, I think it's time for Kennedy to take the bench. I don't care if he comes back. Because Rowe, past few games, I've been watching him because, we've had Rowe in the Galaxy for several seasons now. He's been the backup to like at least three different goalkeepers that I can think of.
Right.
And he has gotten noticeably better. He has definitely improved. He used to be a little bit more mistake prone. I haven't seen any real drastic errors from him in the 2016 season. I'm trying to think. Can you think of one?
No. How about that?
So I mean, he's healthy. He's playing well. Do we really want to relegate him for Dan Kennedy when Kennedy seems to, don't forget when Kennedy was in Dallas, the exact same thing happened to him.
Yep.
He came in as the starting goalkeeper and eventually was relegated to the bench because they had, an unbelievably young and talented homegrown goalkeeper. So, that was probably the right decision for them. But this is like the second time this has happened to Dan Kennedy. And I think it makes sense to keep Rowe as the starter.
And, for good argument's sake, I should probably take the Dan Kennedy side here and say you're paying him too much money, that he shouldn't be sitting on the bench, and that if he's healthy, he has more experience, he's good, and he's not that old in terms of goalkeepers, and he can play. So, Wendy,
that's true.
That's what I say to that, and I fully expect Brian Rowe to keep his starting job, and I would expect it stays that way. All right.
Oh, okay, good.
So at least that's my 2 cents. Whether or not Bruce Arena believes me, we know he listens to the show so much, Wendy.
He is huge fans of ours, isn't he?
Yes, he is. I'm working on a game that we're going to play at some point in the podcast called, what would Bruce Arena say? Where I ask a question that somebody has asked Bruce Arena, right? And then I go ahead and get your response to that question. All right.
As like a prediction.
Yeah, as a prediction.
What did Bruce do? Okay, good. Because
Yeah.
I am very tapped into Bruce's psyche, I have to say.
This is a fun game that we like to play in the press box too. We ask a question out loud to the press box, and everybody says what they think Bruce's answer would be, and we can usually get pretty close whenever you actually do ask that question. So that's a game we're gonna play.
Yeah.
But so anyway,
I'm gonna have to try and deliver it in a Long Island accent, because that is, if you're from Long Island, then you're gonna have to deliver it with a Long Island accent, okay?
Oh, very nice. I'm not going to attempt it. I've tried that before, and it didn't go well for me. All right. One time at the Philadelphia airport, I had a coworker's wife pick us up, and they were from Philadelphia, and she's like, "Raymond, have I told you how much I hate this airport?" That was it, and that's about as
weird
close.
is that Bruce actually sounds more like Brooklyn than Long Island, but
I think he's been in California too long. Quite honestly, I think that's what does
He
it.
still has that bravado though of the New Yorker. He still has New York bravado.
Absolutely. All right, getting completely sidetracked by that.
Yes, I'm sorry. So
No.
your point originally was that Dos Santos is playing in Robbie Keane's role, and that eventually tough decisions are going to be made about who goes where. And I think you're correct that, I would like to see the next few games the Galaxy play. I'd like them to stay with the formation that they deployed in Houston, assuming that they're playing a team that is, obviously you want to vary it up depending on whether you're playing a possession-based team or a counter-attacking team, maybe. But I would like to see this deployed in the next couple of games, because if this is really where Giovanni Dos Santos hits his sweet spot, then I don't know. This could get really uncomfortable.
It's going to be interesting. I think interesting is the best thing. Here, I'm going to give you some Giovanni Dos Santos stats right now. This is where I will tell you that I think stats lie. Here is Giovanni Dos Santos. He has 13 appearances since joining the LA Galaxy last year. He has 5 goals and 7 assists.
Yeah, see, that actually sounds pretty good.
That's not horrible, right?
No, it sounds pretty good.
I read that and I was like, wait, really? First of all, the thing we should really look at is 13 appearances out of how many games has he missed because of injury, because that's also an issue. Hey, if you only play a couple of games, then that's great, but I know he missed more. There were more than 13 games that he could have played in and didn't play because he was injured. So that's the first thing. But if you look at it, 5 goals and 7 assists and 13 appearances is actually pretty good. So maybe the key for Giovanni Dos Santos, Wendy, is staying healthy and keeping him on the field.
Yes, that's probably a good tip for every professional athlete to try and abide by. But I think you're correct. I think you're right that, injuries, he's maybe a little bit more injury prone than I was aware of when he was playing in Spain. I don't really follow La Liga.
Right.
I know him really well from El Tri, obviously. And so I didn't have a concept of him as being a particularly fragile player, but maybe he is just a little bit fragile. I don't know. We have players like that on the LA Galaxy. You have the guys who are kind of like always healthy. Robbie used to be one of those guys who just went years without injuries. Landon Dunivant, notoriously a very healthy player.
Yeah.
But maybe Giovanni is just, I don't know, a little bit injury prone.
Yes, and that worries me if he's going to be the designated player that's supposed to be down the line for this. But ultimately, you had goals from Baggio Husidic. You had goals from
Baggio. Always helpful in a pinch, can play any position. I think I've seen him at every position but goalkeeper.
Just wait. As Mike Magee can tell you, that's next. All right, so that certainly could happen there. Baggio gets a good one. Listen, again, Houston dumpster fire. The goalkeeping on that particular goal was horrendous.
Woof.
Great cross by Gio. Should have been grabbed, should have been punched. Either of those things would have been better than just knocking it to Baggio Husidic, who just had to put it underneath a couple people in order to score. So Baggio, hey, good. Glad you hit the target. Better than Mike Magee, who had a wide open goal in the second half and completely missed. So not bagging on Mike, just saying you have to make those, Mr. Magee. We'd appreciate it if you did. So you had that. You got Sebastian Lletget did a bunch of work in this game. Didn't really show up on the stat lines besides the assist to Zardes on the last goal in the second half.
That was a great assist, though. That was perfectly. He weighted that perfectly. It was in the exact right location. It was perfect.
I thought he waited too long, quite honestly. I was looking at that. I was like, nope, too long. Oh, okay, yeah, no, it works. Okay, yeah, what do I know?
Because Zardes can really move. Zardes can get out in front of, he can really move. I know what you're saying, but I thought it was perfect.
Gio gets the second assist on that goal, by the way. AJ De La Garza heads it to Gio to Lletget to Zardes. Lletget doing most of the work on that. So Gio with the courtesy assist. Little tip of the hat there. That's fine. You had, like I said, Zardes, Baggio, 2 goals from Giovanni Dos Santos. He's involved in all 4 goals. I don't know what else you really want from a player in this particular case than what happened.
Both Jared and Dos Santos were in great form in Houston. And it's hard to know what percentage of that you attribute to the fact that they found the right positions.
Right.
Maybe we found some more chemistry. Maybe they're both healthy. Maybe the weather in Houston was a little bit cooler than they expected. It could be all that. And you also have to throw in a whole heck of a lot of Houston just being awful.
Well, Bruce Arena is expecting a lot out of Giovanni Dos Santos. After the game, Bruce said, and I quote, "Obviously, he played well. The first goal was a big goal, got us back in after conceding an early goal. Never a good way to start on the road. To get that goal back early was important. It settled our team down a little bit. Certainly the rest of the half, I think we did a good job." By the way, LA Galaxy scoring in the first half for the very first time this year. the LA Galaxy hadn't scored a single goal in the first half, and they scored 3 of them in the first half. I'll take it. I have no problems with that, right?
I tell you, this game on Saturday is going to be very illuminating because it's going to be a great test of to what extent, we're trying to read the tea leaves in the team and, see improvements and whether those improvements are really concrete.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting as well. I'm trying to think of what else I could sort of shed some light on here. Baggio Hasidic on his goal specifically, he says the goal, it was coming pretty quick, so once I got it past him, I had a few seconds to get to the ball, and the ball came down quite nicely, and I put it in. I just tried to hit it on target and into the ground, so I'll take it. I think that probably gives that goal, it sounds like that goal is a lot more interesting, even with that sort of not very interesting explanation of what actually happened, because the Houston goalkeeper basically handed it to Baggio and said, here, please shoot on goal. And Baggio did, so it was a good finish. I don't want to take anything away from Baggio, because I think he's been playing very good in place of Nigel de Jong, so I'm happy with that. This was game number 1 of Nigel de Jong's suspension, and fortunately for the LA Galaxy, didn't even miss him, not for a second.
No, didn't miss him, not for a second. You're right. And Michael Duarte tweeted out after the game, he said that the goal in the first minute by David Horst and the goal in the 4th minute by Giovanni Dos Santos, that is the quickest that any 2 teams have scored in an MLS game, both teams having scored. So I don't know whether that's true or not. I am crediting Michael Duarte with that stat if it's true.
And if it's not, then we blame him.
So we blame him. Yeah,
that's
of course.
Easy either way. All right, that's cool. Well, the phone lines are open here at Corner of the Galaxy. 949-734-4217. Once again, 949-734-4217. If you have an opinion about the Houston game, you want to talk about Giovanni Dos Santos or Steven Gerrard, we're going to get to in the second segment. We're definitely going to talk about Real Salt Lake coming up and all that stuff as well. But we want to get to any of your calls before we get done with this segment. So we have about 2 minutes left in here. So if we can squeeze one call in, that would be great. 949-734-4217 is the call here. All right, so the LA Galaxy win 4-1. Is there anybody really that you were surprised by any of their performances, or is this one that really is an overall team performance? Are we happy with everything that we saw there? Was there anything that stuck out and you sort of said, hey, that wouldn't work against a real team? But Houston Dynamo. I was
surprised by the performances of Giovanni Dos Santos and Steven Gerrard. I've never seen them look so good. And look so good for the Galaxy. Maybe they have. I mean, maybe I'm not thinking back to every single game, but in general, they looked really, really good. That surprised me, particularly maybe Gerrard, because there was something about his form last week where he looked very imperious. He looked confident. He was keeping his head up, looking for opportunities. He just seemed all over the place. I mean, he was delivering perfect passes, and I was just like, where did he come from? Last year, if you recall, we played away at Houston in August, and he just looked miserable. He just looked, I think, so unhappy.
Well, Houston in August is miserable. I mean, it's
either Houston or Dallas. Yeah. It was in the dead of summer that he was playing in Texas, and you just saw the look on his face, like, what the hell? I
shouldn't be here. I
don't belong here.
That's right. Very good. All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and extend the phone lines until after our interview with Daniel Steres as well. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. All right. Whenever we get back, we're going to be talking with Daniel Steres of the LA Galaxy, defender for the LA Galaxy, having a great season so far. So we look forward to that. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. We'll be right back.
Canary down the mine. That's all this was, a warning sign, a warning sign. Thought I understood my wrong from right. But now is it I toss and turn all through the night. I don't need a friend to tell me why. This was a mistake. Yeah, this was my mistake.
All right, everybody, we talked to Daniel Steres before the show, so what we're going to do now is go ahead and play that interview live, or play the interview over the live feed now, so that way you can hear it. And then whenever it's done, Wendy and I will be back to go ahead and talk some more. So here you go.
Recording from COG Studios and not their mom's basement, it's Corner of the Galaxy.
Welcome back to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Wendy's going to take a quick break as I get on the phone with a young gentleman who's made quite an impression for the senior team after being on LA Galaxy 2 for last year. Played defender there, played it very well, so well, in fact, that they called him up to the senior team this year, and I think we're going to have some fun talking to him. So please welcome to the show, Dan Steres. Dan, how's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. We'll jump right in here. Did you expect to be making such an impact on the senior team, knowing that you were playing for the USL side last year?
No, I mean, to be honest, I know I got signed early in the year, and I hoped I would have some sort of impact this year, but never really knew it'd be this quickly and like this to start the season. I mean, we got quite a squad over here, so I was just planning on paying my dues and getting my chance when it came, but it came pretty early, so better than I could ask for.
Yeah, it came pretty early, and it seems like you've been handling it pretty well so far. Still getting nervous before the games? Is there any big jump up between USL and Major League Soccer, as other people have said there is?
I mean, yeah, there's a jump in level, obviously, and then of course a jump in the crowds you're playing in front of, the stadiums and all that. So that's probably the biggest jump. But I've played in big games before against MLS type teams and other tournaments in the leagues before this. So it's something I knew I could do. It was just showing it to the coach and proving myself to the team.
How has it been integrating into the locker room? From all the players that I talk to, everybody says that this particular locker room seems like it's a lot of fun, and it seems like you guys are out there playing and having some fun. Is that a fair assessment?
It is, yeah. There's a lot of personalities in the locker room, so it's been quite good getting in and getting comfortable with the guys. I mean, we got an interesting group as far as some older guys, some younger guys, a bunch of different countries they come from, a bunch of different backgrounds, people just starting their careers, people coming towards the end. So it's an interesting locker room to be a part of, a lot of learning going on, but a lot of fun, and I think it shows.
Well, you're a local kid, right? Born in Burbank, California. You've bounced around a whole bunch. Went to San Diego State University, played there. Ventura County Fusion. You've had quite the road to get to Major League Soccer. What does it mean right now to be in the place that you are starting?
It means a lot. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Southern California here, and I've always watched the LA Galaxy. They were always my team. If you caught me when I was 5 or 6 years old, I probably would have said I want to grow up and play for the Galaxy when I'm older. So it's definitely been a dream come true so far, and I just want to keep it going. But yeah, it's been just bouncing around a couple leagues, couple teams, trying to find my way and get the opportunity I've gotten here so far.
What is it like? We talk about some of the homegrown players, some of the guys who grew up around the LA Galaxy. Like you said, if somebody would have asked you, you would have said that you'd be playing for the LA Galaxy. What does it feel like now to be playing there? Is that you think that's a different experience than maybe some of these other players have?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a little different than a lot of the people have. I've been following for a while, and it's always been kind of a dream, so it is a little surreal. And, I get to have my family and friends all around to come out for these games. And, it's just that experience is pretty cool outside of just playing for a team that's always been known as being the best in the U.S. And, we've got the titles to prove that. And, it's just a prestigious club. So
what is it like? Your paired up partner there in central defense is Yell Van Dam. Tell me a little bit about Yell and the partnership you guys have.
Yeah, Yell's a wild man. I'm sure you guys have seen already. He's all over the place. He's willing to stick his head in, his foot in, wherever it needs to be. So He's a great guy, though. He's obviously a big, strong, athletic center back for us. So, it's good for me to know that I've got that there as a ball winner. And, I just need to be smart around him and try to, play my role in the line and keep things in front of us. So it's been good so far. He's very talkative, easy to ask questions, bounce things off of. So it's been a good start so far.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have a good relationship back there. How is he off the field?
Pretty similar to what you would think and what you guys might have seen so far. And, his on-field of making these big tackles and, being pretty wild on the field and ready to track down anyone is pretty similar in his personality. He's got a big personality. He's lots of fun in the locker room too. He's always there to make some jokes and stuff.
Yeah, he seems like the instigator of a lot of those jokes, which is always fun. As somebody who gets to go in the locker room afterwards, he's always having a good time. So that's good to see. Let's talk about your game. What do you think your most the thing you have to work on the most is right now?
Thing I have to work on the most, just I've always been pretty good at reading the game, I feel like, and so it's just taking that up another level to where I can be ahead of the game at this level too. Mm-hmm. I'm not the biggest guy, but I feel like I'm pretty good in the air. I'm not the most technical guy on the team, but I can play out the back. So I'd say it's just it's working on reading the game and seeing plays develop a little quicker. And then obviously, I think as any back or center back would say, we probably want to try to work on getting the ball to our forwards as quick as possible. So, playing better out of the back as well.
Yeah, you also you scored a goal this season already. First MLS season here, you get involved and you score a goal. Did you think that was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, you might think it's weird, but I really did think it was going to happen that night, and that's partially why my reaction to the goal was just so much excitement because, I really felt like it was going to happen. I've played in a few of these leagues before and scored a few goals actually.
Right.
And I seem to have a knack of kind of scoring in these first games I get out there. So I was hoping it was going to happen. You could say I visualized it, and I just got lucky that it worked out.
Maybe you should visualize the 6th game of the season as well. That maybe or the 7th game as we go on. Let's talk.
I try to visualize every game. Sometimes it works.
I like that. That works good. That's how I play soccer too. I predict it every single time, and when it happens, I feel pretty good about it. Let's talk about Real Salt Lake coming into StubHub Center on Saturday. Obviously, a big game. They're undefeated. They have a ton of offensive star power there. Maybe with Plata out, maybe a little bit less, but still, Burrito Martinez, you're a Musician. What are you guys looking to do against Real Salt Lake as they come into to the StubHub Center?
Yeah, I mean, I still got a little bit of research to do on these guys, but I know how they like to play, and obviously if Plata is out, that's gonna be a little different game that they play. But yeah, I mean, we're just trying to slow them down. Obviously, coming in undefeated, I mean, little extra motivation right there to try to take that away from them on our home field. So that'll be part of the game, trying to figure out how we can slow down their attack. And they've got a big target forward with Mofsisian and some speed and technical players around him that can make plays, get him the ball. So I'll have to do some research a little bit before this game to really feel how we're going to go at it. But I think we got a good chance.
The last game you guys played at home against the Portland Timbers came out a little flat, ended up getting a draw in that game. Something the LA Galaxy probably don't like to do is drop some points at home. How focused is this team on continuing the winning streak from winning on the road to take down Real Salt Lake?
Yeah, I mean, we go into every game thinking we can get 3 points out of it, and especially at home. I mean, we feel like any game at home we should be able to win, and hopefully we do win. So we're going to continue just like we did in Houston. I think obviously we got off to a slow start in the first minute, but I think overall after that we got on the gas pedal pretty quickly and started going. So hopefully we'll carry that over. It's been a good week so far, and we got an undefeated team coming into our home, so we always want to spoil that party a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's expected to be a near capacity crowd, so you should have some crowd support behind you. I know that I'll be visualizing a goal for you this week as well, as the LA Galaxy face off against Real Salt Lake, undefeated Real Salt Lake at StubHub Center on Saturday. Dan, we want to wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Good luck, and I'm sure we'll have you on the show again very soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
Looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, everybody is. All right, there you go. There's Dan Steres, LA Galaxy defender, going to be playing again here for the LA Galaxy as they come up against Real Salt Lake. Should be good. All right, what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and take a break. Whenever I get back, Wendy will be back. We still have a bunch to get to. LA Galaxy news. That's going to be there for sure. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about? The stadium stuff, all the stadium restrictions, and of course we have the game coming up against Real Salt Lake that we still have to preview. So still a bunch to get to, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com.
Hey, this is Chris.
This is Eddie.
This is Jason.
And we're from Back Pocket Memory, and you're listening to Corner of the Galaxy.
Ready for some more Corner of the Galaxy? Don't forget to head over to the website for all the latest podcasts, news, and more. Visit us online at cornerofthegalaxy.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Big thanks to the LA Galaxy, Chris Glidden over at PR, and of course Dan Steres for coming on the show. Always great to talk to some of the newer members of the team, or at least I enjoy it. I don't know if anybody else does, but Dan seems like a good guy. I'm excited to see what he can do because, quite honestly, Wendy, when you look at Dan Steres, he's a kid who the LA Galaxy don't pay very much, which is good. Right. He's a kid who has a lot of talent. He has the physical abilities. It looks like he possibly has the mental abilities to be able to be a starting center back for the LA Galaxy, which means that he could be playing for the LA Galaxy for a long time. This could be somebody like another Omar Gonzalez.
Well, Daniel Steres is 6 feet tall and Omar was 6'5". And I think that it's true that Daniel did score a goal against DC United to that power header, which was great. It was wonderful. That being said, he's also shown that he's pretty uneven. As you recall, in the 95th minute of the game against Colorado, he did fail to make a clearance, which opened the door to Marco Papa just slamming one home. So I would not say he strikes me as being necessarily ready to be a starting center back.
But he's new. He's new. Give him a chance.
He is new. I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's great that he's getting minutes. He's getting opportunities to get his feet wet, to develop his skill set. But I wouldn't say, I mean, for example, you tweeted out earlier this week, who would you put in your back line? And for me, that's not really, that's a somewhat frivolous question, because I think that if Robbie Rogers and AJ LaGarza are both healthy, then there's no question in my mind that the back line is Cole, Van Dam, De La Garza, Rogers.
Yeah, except that Bruce Arena loves Twin Towers, so he likes having two big bodies in the center.
He loves two big guys.
So if you... That needs to be a drop. I need to cut that out. All right.
Those two big guys.
That is perfect. Our phone lines are open here at Corner of the Galaxy. If you agree, disagree, want to talk about anything, 949-734-4217. They're open for the entire second segment here as we want to talk to you if you want to talk to us. We are live streaming. I should put that out. Something new. If it goes off well, we'll see if we can continue to do it. But right now, live on YouTube. And if you go to cornerofthegalaxy.com/live, that's where you can find our live shows. The live stream is embedded right there. You can hit play. You can play it on your 42-inch big screen television, as my good friend John is doing, because he tweeted at me with a picture of me in my LA Galaxy kit, Wendy, because I'm wearing an LA Galaxy kit because I'm on video this time.
You are just too sexy in your kid.
I was going to turn around. Maybe when you're talking next time, I'll turn around so you can see that it actually has my name on it too. And thank God I didn't get this for myself. It was a gift from the LA Galaxy. So I'm not gonna worry about that. But please call in. We'd love to do it. This live stream is about interaction with you guys, so that's why it's here, and hopefully we can continue to use it that way if it works. Other special announcements that we have: the Philadelphia away game. Angel City Brigade would like me to remind you that there are about, I think, 20 to 25 people who are going to the Philadelphia away game. This is a Wednesday night game. Yes, that sounds like you have to miss a lot of work on it, but I've been told they're flying out late Tuesday night, so overnight Tuesday. You're going to be there Wednesday, so you'd have to ask off for Wednesday and Thursday. I think they're coming back Thursday night. This is Wednesday, May 11th, 2016. It is a 4 p.m. kickoff here, 7 p.m. kickoff in Philadelphia. So go to Angel City Brigade at their Twitter account or their Facebook page or their website, and you can find out all the information that you need there. Wendy has said that she is probably not going to that game.
In the middle of the week, I work full time. I can't. It's very difficult for me to get time off.
Big, important when I understand. I understand how it is. That's not going
to. Are you going, Josh? Mr. Cog, Mr. Captain of the ship, are you going to Philadelphia?
I have to do podcasts, so I can't leave.
It's yeah.
Tough.
Your podcasting commitments.
Thursday nights is when we record. I probably wouldn't be back in time. How could we ever have a show for that weekend? That sounds like a horrible idea. But anyway, if I could, I would in a heartbeat. Absolutely. But of course, time off is always an issue as well. So that being said, that's how we go. Let's talk a little LA Galaxy team news, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's start. Number one, Jelle Van Dam goes to Belgium and then makes his way back. So Jelle is there. He makes his way back. Everybody seems like they're probably pretty happy. I guess everybody's happy. I really have no idea. I don't know where this stems from, quite honestly.
I mean, I hear the French fries are great there, although it kind of weirds me out that they put mayonnaise on them.
I don't. That sounds like.
I mean, my knowledge of Belgium is limited to essentially that it's the seat of power for the European Union,
right?
And that they have really peculiar senses of humor.
And
everyone I know who's ever been Belgium has a very odd sense of humor.
And waffles, Wendy.
Oh, the waffle fries too. I love
waffle fries. Waffle fries are pretty good.
So good.
Yeah. All right. So we had a tweet on Jelle Van Dam from First Avenger 88, and he says, "Who should be the first option off the bench between Jamison and Boateng?" Ooh, Jamison and Boateng.
Well, I'm assuming that you're looking for a wide player in that case. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
Jamison.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
not
even.
I'm always so scared with Jamison because he's had 2 concussions that every time he comes in the field, I'm just like, oh, be careful.
We don't talk about that. That's what we do.
Sorry.
No, we just put it out of our mind, and we hope that he continues to play safely and that type of thing. So, yeah, that's the only thing I can say. I don't know else. I know what you're saying. It's interesting that I think Jamison has so much more skill and can be not as fast as Boateng, but uses his skill and his speed much better, quite honestly, that I would pick Bradford Jamieson off the bench. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, I agree that he's faster, he's more skilled, he's also a real natural goal scorer. I just get so nervous when he comes off the bench because I have this feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I'm just sitting there like, don't get injured, don't get injured, don't get injured.
No. This is now let's see. I actually displayed the correct tweet this time, Wendy, about Jelle Van Dam, so we can actually talk about Jelle Van Dam. So Felix Montoya says, should homesick Van Dam worry us? He seems slightly off and is now visiting home. Understandable, but worrying. Use the hashtag COG Live is how we can pull those out and put those onto our show and onto our live stream. So if you're listening on the podcast, you could see wonderful Twitter images on our live stream as well. But of course, we'll always keep catering to the podcast as well. So should you be worried about Jelle Van Dam going to Belgium and eating waffle fries and visiting his family? This was a team-sanctioned trip. I should say that he wanted to go visit his family because I don't think his family is out here right now.
No, I don't. I don't know if I should be worried. I remember last fall, I became bitterly resentful when Gerrard went midweek to Europe in order to cover the Champions League. So I suppose I should, show an equivalent amount of indignance in this instance.
But you're not going to.
But that being said, I just don't feel it right now. I'm envisioning waffle fries, and I don't know. It seems like it actually might be a really good idea.
Yeah, now I'm hungry too. I like this from Felix Montoya says that he seems slightly off. I don't know that.
Off? I don't know. Is he? He played well. I mean, against Houston. So
I have no idea, Wendy.
We will watch out this Saturday. I will keep an eye out for Van Dam to make sure that his focus is 100% on the game.
Let's also point out that Jelle Van Dam also. I said his name about 13 times wrong there whenever I was talking to Daniel Steres in the interview. So I apologize for that, and hopefully it can be a little bit better here whenever it comes back. So I will do my best to do my best Jelle Van Dam impression whenever we come back to the show next time. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I'm American.
Yeah. Oh, you are?
I'm American, and so I don't get insecure when it comes to pronouncing names from foreign countries.
Right.
And I'm perfectly comfortable just saying Jelle. Jelle Van Dam. I know it's probably like Yell or Yelle or something like that, but I can just call him Jelle Van Dam. It's okay.
It's Jelle Van Dam. Apparently that's how you're supposed to say it. Anyway, we can argue about that some other time. Other team news. I don't know if anybody's interested in this. I thought it was interesting. Robbie Rogers launches a new menswear line. It's called Hampton and Baker. He partners with his good friend Warren Alfie Baker, and their first item is 5 different styles of the denim jacket. I expect nothing but excellence from Robbie Rogers whenever it comes to fashion. And quite honestly, if Robbie's wearing it, I should probably be wearing it because that means that I would actually be fashionable instead of wearing this kit like an overweight slob. So Robbie, if you want us to try out some of this stuff, just send it on over. Wendy would be happy to try this stuff on. I would be happy to try this stuff. It's a menswear.
What's amusing is that you think that your build approximates Robbie Rogers. I will say Robbie Rogers owns a hunter green jacket, a tailored jacket, which he has used in like several different like things. Like when he released his book, he was photographed in it, and it is one of the most well-tailored jackets, and it is the perfect color for him. So he definitely has a fashion sense, and so I think neither you nor I would necessarily fit in Robbie Rogers' clothing line. Me because I'm a woman,
okay,
and you because
I'm taking offense to everything that's going on here, I think.
No. I think that you should buy it, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how much it's going to cost. I have a feeling it's going to be way too much for me. Anyway, you may not be able to bring it in the stadium, or maybe you could if you got it. You probably could. It's probably not on the list of things that have been banned or restricted. MLS introduced elevated security standard. Will include all MLS some games. Some is the marketing arm of Major League Soccer, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that's crossed over there, and all USL stadiums. So MLS, some, and USL stadiums, all of this will happen. Public safety is the top priority, and the enhanced security measures will ensure that fans are able to continue to enjoy MLS and some events in a safe environment, says MLS President and Deputy Commissioner Mark Abbott. Here we have somebody who is who is not very well liked by most of the supporters groups, and I have to say has sort of a sketchy track record, it seems, at least publicly, from a lot of things. And here is Ray Whitworth, Senior VP of Security and Operations, says the safety of our fans, players, and staff is paramount. The updated security measures bring us in line with professional sports leagues around the United States and Canada while maintaining the unique sports experience that is MLS. Here is what I'll say, Wendy, about these new things. This is pretty standard across NFL and Major League Baseball now. All these things that have banned, which you're looking at: large purses, coolers, briefcases, backpacks is probably the big one. Luggage of any kind, computer bags, camera bags, or any bag larger than 14 by 14 by 6. All right, that's not 14 feet, that's 14 inches. So 14 by 14 by 6. In addition, all bags will be subject to search upon entry. This is nothing new for LA Galaxy as far as the entry search, walking through the through the metal detectors, maybe being wanded, having your stuff searched through before you go in. Even as a media member, I have that happen to me. So
what was the inciting incident? What instigated or prompted this move by MLS? Was it the thing with DC United?
No, I don't think there was any. I think this was always coming down. I really don't think there was one incident that you can point to and say, oh, that's definitely the reason that this is going on right now. I really believe that if you go to an Angels game, you can't bring in the stuff. And the NFL just had the whole big issue where last year they went to, clear bags and having large bags banned, and so a bunch of different things. So really, listen, when you go to Disneyland now, you have to walk through a metal detector. I get it. I understand. I don't necessarily like it, but I get it. It's about overall security. It's about being proactive. Do we need an underlying incident? Do you want somebody to get hurt or have that happen?
No, I don't want to be one of those people who's reactive and, he doesn't take measures until something happens. I was just wondering because, to my mind, I always feel extremely safe at Galaxy games. I do too. I feel just like totally 100% comfortable.
Yeah, and I do too. And granted, I sit in the press box, but remember, I have season tickets, and I sat down in the stands, for a bunch of years before I got moved out to the press box. So I never felt danger, any sort of danger or anything like that. So yeah, in some way, it may be seen as an overreaction to a non-existent threat, but I just feel like they're being cautious on this. The Boston Marathon bombing, let's face it, people are going to try to target places with big crowds, and this is maybe a step in the right direction, and hopefully it does some good. A lot of times I think this stuff is eyewash. This will probably turn out to be eyewash, quite honestly. But that means that if you're going to the game this weekend, get there early. Please get there early, because I can guarantee that security is going to be a nightmare, because I've never seen any of this stuff go smoothly whenever they've implemented any of these things. So just get there early, do what you can to do that. We have about 10 minutes left, Wendy. So I want to get down to, I know, it goes by so fast. I know. I want to get to RSL. I want to go quickly to the LA Galaxy schedule. Obviously, RSL on Saturday. Sunday, May 1st at Sporting Kansas City. That's going to be the last game of Nigel de Jong's suspension, unless MLS makes up another rule to suspend him for longer.
And by the way, Darlington Nagbe, back in training, everyone.
Yeah, what do you know? And he was back in training before they even played last weekend. So that's good. Listen, it's a bad tackle. It's a red card. It's at 3 games. I said it was probably 2. 3 makes sense because of his thing. We've talked it to death. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay, all
right. Sunday, May 8th. Home to the New England Revolution. Wednesday, May 11th, we've already talked about, away to Philadelphia. Sunday, May 22nd, the second meeting of the Cali Classico at StubHub Center, with the San Jose Earthquakes coming in on Sunday, May 22nd. And then Saturday, May 28th, away at Montreal. By the way, the LA to Montreal trip is one of the longest trips in Major League Sports. Just wanted to point that out. I didn't know if you knew that.
May we?
Yeah, Canadians. French Canadians. All right. That's it.
Josh?
That's if you want to send hate mail to me at Jay Guessman, I guess, if that offended you. I was joking, so get over it. Canadians. MLS standings real quick. FC Dallas in the Western Conference first. 17 points. Real Salt Lake second, 14 points. Colorado Rapids third with 13 points. Sporting Kansas City with 12 points in fourth, and the LA Galaxy with 11 points in fifth, tied with San Jose Earthquakes, who are in sixth with 11 points. Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, and Houston all below the thin red line. All right, let's see what else is going on. Injuries. Robbie Keane looks like he's the only one out. Wendy. That's
incredible.
This is the first time I can say that. Robbie Rogers, full training. Jose Villarreal getting time with LA Galaxy 2. Raul Mendiola expected to get some time with LA Galaxy 2. Jeff Laurentowicz available. Leonardo, full training, could be available as in the 18 for Real Salt Lake. Bruce Arena said, quote, ready to play in the near future for Leonardo. Okay, Dan Kennedy, full training. There you go. That is all the injury information I have. Everybody else is either healthy and back, like AJ De La Garza had an injury in his back, but or is not injured. So that's good. That's how it works. All right. So getting some people healthy. Here we go. LA Galaxy versus Real Salt Lake, 7:30 p.m. on Time Warner Cable Sportsnet, Time Warner Cable Deportes, April 23rd, 7:30 p.m. Like I said, this is the Saturday game. Get there early. It's going to be a nightmare. I'm telling you right now. The parking is never good.
Oh my God. If there's
good.
7 circles of hell in Dante's Inferno, I know the last one is me driving around the StubHub Center parking lot, just looking for entrances and being blocked off at every single one because security won't let me in.
If you get there early instead of playing golf, excuse me, it's golf, barbecue.
Golf, barbecue, soccer game is a perfect Saturday for me.
That does sound like a pretty nice Saturday. So,
yeah.
So I agree with that. But yeah, if you get there earlier than Wendy, you wouldn't have a problem. So I'm advising everybody, this is going to be a capacity or near capacity crowd. More than 25,000 people expected for this game. Undefeated Real Salt Lake comes into the LA Galaxy. Real Salt Lake has the highest points per game in the league, which means they are the best team in the league as far as I'm concerned right now. They're playing well, but they did have a setback in the fact that Joao Plata is not going to be playing in this game. In fact, it looks like he's going to be out for quite a while. So that's good news for the LA Galaxy. Bad news for Real Salt Lake, as the Salt Lake lineup of Burrito Martinez, Yura Mosisian, and Joao Plata have been excellent in offense. That those three are just terrors coming after everybody.
They
lose one.
RSL is undefeated this season. They are the only undefeated season remaining in MLS. And Joao Plato, the tiny little Ecuadorian forward, has played a role in 8 of RSL's 10 goals this season. He has scored 4 goals, he has gotten 4 assists, and he has been, the maestro for them for the past, the first 2 months of their season. So him going, I heard he pulled up a hamstring in training. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's what it ends up being. I can click on it to see some more.
That's really bad news for RSL. Great news for us, although, let's not get cocky about it. RSL does have other good players, so we still need to be on our game on Saturday.
Yep.
But yeah, that's terrible news for RSL. Joao Plato has been great for them this season.
Yeah, really good. So it'll be interesting. The RSL last game was a 1-0 win over Vancouver at home. They are 4-0-2, and that is the last 6 games because the LA Galaxy have played 6 games. So is RSL, 6 games. So LA Galaxy's last game, of course, was a 1-1 draw, and they were 3-1-2. That's really the difference between them. But if you look at the points per game and that one loss to Colorado, you talked about it, the header by Daniel Steres. If that doesn't, the LA Galaxy are also undefeated right now. If that doesn't happen, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, that doesn't really matter much anymore. It's going to be interesting to see how RSL comes about. I think that they are very dangerous, even through the midfielder with Beckerman, Sturzer, Mulholland. It'll be interesting to see who takes up for Plata. It could be a lot of people, maybe Devin Sandoval, who hasn't been playing a lot, but has sort of been getting some late game subs with Mosisian coming out. So you could look at him. They have Omar Garcia is also available as a forward. Maybe you can do something with the midfield. Maybe Mulholland moves up and you put Jordan Allen in that. But there's lots of really good players for Real Salt Lake. And this is sort of like the Real Salt Lake of old. There's no real superstar besides Burrito Martinez is so much fun to watch. I'm kind of excited about this. I know a lot of times we don't get excited about some of the players who are coming in, but Burrito Martinez is fun to watch. He tries stuff. He gets away with he got skill in tight spaces. I'm excited to see him there. What do you expect from this game, Wendy?
In years past, I've always really enjoyed watching RSL play, particularly a team like the Galaxy. The RSL is historically been associated with a passing game and very possession-oriented team, and the Galaxy at times has also been very passing-oriented, possession-based team. So that's always interesting when you have 2 teams focused on possession, looking out for turnovers and things like that. I think that RSL is capable of playing a very attractive brand of football. And so I think Saturday, I think it's going to be a great game. I wonder what RSL is going to do in lieu of having Plata there.
Right.
But you're right. They have plenty of weapons. They may not need him. And so I think the weather's going to be gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to sitting down with a beer and just watching this game.
It should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it as well, as you say that. It should just be. I just look for a good game. If you remember, the last time these two teams met was in September. September of 2015, RSL won 3-0 in RSL. The last time the two teams played in LA, it was May 27th, 2015, and LA won that game 1-0. I always enjoy these games. I think this is an underrated matchup in Major League Soccer, is LA Galaxy versus Real Salt Lake, especially now that RSL is back in form. I think they're very well balanced this year, and these two teams love to go at each other. I expect RSL to fully go after 3 points against LA, and I expect LA to go after RSL with 3 points as well. Do you have a score prediction so we can be wrong?
I am predicting a Galaxy win. I say that this is the first game of the season that RSL goes down, and I say it is going to be a 3-2 scoreline.
I think the LA Galaxy will also win, but by a score of 2-0. I think the unbalanced attack now without Plata in there may cause RSL some adjustment problems. I expect their defense to play well, but quite honestly, with the LA Galaxy's offense, if it shows even a little bit of what it was able to do against Houston with Giovanni Dos Santos coming around with Steven Gerrard, if he can figure out a way to not get neutralized by Kyle Beckerman or anybody else there in the center, I think that Gerrard could have another good game. I think Giovanni Dos Santos could have a good game. Sebastian Lletget is going to score in this game as well. So.
This is a test because, this will perhaps vindicate the new formation that the team has been playing, and also, establish to what extent last week was an aberration. Was it because Houston is hot garbage, or because RSL is definitely not hard garbage, are we really very good? There
you go. So it's good. That's what you want to see. You want to find out about your teams right now. This is exactly the time to do it. This is the time you want to see it. It's time to figure out what this LA Galaxy team is about. And with most people healthy, besides Robbie Keane, with Nigel de Jong being suspended, obviously those two parts not there. But with most people being healthy, you want to see what lineup is on the field and what the LA Galaxy can do with that lineup. This game, 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, LA Galaxy hosting the undefeated Real Salt Lake coming into StubHub Center. Should be a lot of fun. Again, get there early. Time Warner Cable Sportsnet if you must watch it from home. Time Warner Cable Deportes if you must watch it from home in Spanish. Those are your two channels to watch it. Otherwise, I will see everybody there at the stadium. Wendy will see you at the stadium. We'll all wave and be awkward around each other. I think that works well. Does that work for you, Wendy? I mean,
it works, boss.
All right. Anything else you want to get to before we get out of here?
I'll see everyone on Saturday.
All right. Why don't you tell people where they can find you, and we'll say goodnight to everybody.
I can be found writing for American Soccer Now and Corner of the Galaxy, and of course I can be found on Twitter at Bardsblonde.
At Bardsblonde is Wendy's Twitter. If you're looking for me on Twitter, at JGuessman, JGUESMAN. At Galaxy Podcast is where you can find us. And of course, it looks like if everything went well tonight for the show, we will be streaming live on YouTube for all of our Thursday nights or our main shows here on Corner of the Galaxy. Corner of the Galaxy from the Box still going to be recorded and sent out to you, but our live shows here on Corner of the Galaxy very well may end up on YouTube a lot, which will allow me to have a lot more fun with what I wear and what we're doing. So it should be a lot of fun. Again, I implore you, if you can make it out to that Philadelphia game, contact Angel City Brigade, figure out how to do it, get there, have some fun with that. That would be a great trip to do. Philadelphia looks like a fun place to watch a soccer game, so please do that. I want to thank Back Pocket Memory for the use of all their wonderful music. They're excellent. Please go to at Back Pocket Memory without any of the vowels, at Back Pocket Memory to follow those guys. Go to iTunes, download Victory and Empire. Help these guys out for helping us out, all right? That does it for us. Want to thank the LA Galaxy for having Daniel Steres on. Thank Daniel Steres for coming on. For Wendy Thomas, I'm Josh Gessman, and you've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, and we will catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.